Okay. And men seem to be drawn to it. Not all men do it, and we'll talk about the people who don't find it comfortable. But most men, when we just tell them to go and do something with their kid, they're not going to do some colouring. They're going to take the kid outside, they're going to throw it in the air, they're going to chase it around the garden, they're going to aeroplane it over their head, they're going to come in, they're going to bounce on the sofa, they're going to do a little wrestling. There's lots of shrieking, there's lots of energy. And we see pretty much all Western fathers do that. And the reason for it is twofold. First of all, it's a very quick way of bonding with your child. Dads have to bond through interaction. They don't have the head start of childbirth, which is a whole tsunami of bonding hormones. So they do it through interaction. And rough and tumble play is a really time-efficient way to do it. You get a massive tidal wave of bonding hormones because it's so physical, so you get beta endorphin, because there's lots of touch, there's lots of giggling. So all of these things release dopamine, beta endorphin, oxytocin. They bond you tightly to the child you're playing with, and the child gets them as well. But also it's starting to underpin some teaching about social skills, because the basis of all social behaviour is reciprocity, is give and take. And when we play with someone, it only remains fun if that reciprocity is reasonably balanced. You learn empathy because you've got to work out, is this still fun for the other person, or are they no longer enjoying this? Have I gone too far? You learn to deal with challenge. Rough and tumble play can be pretty extreme. It can be a little bit painful. It can be a little bit risky. And so you're saying to the kid, assess the risk. Here's the challenge. Can you deal with the challenge? And all of that underpins that child's neural development, first of all, but also you're showing, by example, social skills. I'm saying reciprocity. But what's really interesting, and I love this piece of research, and this came out from a group in Israel headed by Ruth Feldman, who is a pioneer of neuroscience in terms of children and their parents. She found that dads and children have co-evolved to prefer to play with each other. Okay, so when you're a parent, you will get a peak in oxytocin from certain behaviours you do with your child. You'll always get a bit of oxytocin because anything you do with them is probably very nice, apart from maybe the tantrums. But if you're a dad, that peak in oxytocin comes from playing with your kid. And then when we look at kids, when the peak in oxytocin release they get when they're playing with their dads, again, isn't when daddy gives me a cuddle, which is nice, but, I don't get a big release. It's when I play with daddy.
So is that different to women?
Yes. So women get their peak in of oxytocin released from nurturing their children, particularly from hugging them. And kids get their peak in oxytocin when they interact with mum from mum's cuddles, not from playing with mum. So naturally, kids kind of gravitate towards dads when they want to have fun. And dad, that's the kind of thing he will choose to do with his child. Something that's physical, something that's stimulatory. And that's what's really interesting. And that's, in a way, why dad's kind of got the moniker of, oh, you're the fun parent, you do all the fun stuff. But actually, play is fundamental to a child's development, absolutely fundamental to their social development, also building that really critical bond with dad.